This episode of Out of Spec Reviews is brought to you by Magna. More on that later. Hello and welcome back to another Out of Spec Reviews video. You join me in the Genesis G70. It's playing a little chime to welcome us, and we're actually in the car because it's just incredibly windy outside. And in this video, we're going to see how efficient the Genesis is at 70 miles an hour in our standard 70 mile per hour loop style highway MPG test. This car's rated 17 city, 25 MPG highway by the EPA. Personally, my gut feeling just driving it around for the week is like, this thing seems to be doing better than that. So we'll have a full performance driving review coming on this car, of course, because that's what really interests me about this vehicle. You know, twin turbocharged V6 engine, great 8-speed torque converter auto, but rips the shifts in Sport Plus. It's got a trick all-wheel drive system, but it's not the Sport Premium or whatever the max one is. It's the mid-spec, the Sport Advanced, which means it's missing adaptive suspension. It doesn't have a torque vector. No, it does have torque vectoring. What else is missing? Brembo brakes and a limited slip rear diff. There we go. Sorry. Been driving a lot of cars recently, as you guys know, but let's go see what this thing does on the highway at 70 miles an hour. So you join us at the gas station now. Let's fill this thing up with premium fuel. I don't know if it actually does recommend premium fuel, but definitely a high performance machine. And just to be kind to a lot of our local journalists in the region, we always fill cars with premium that have turbos on them. It's just a thing that we do in the reviewing car world, and that's what we're continuing to do here. It doesn't specifically say fill it up with 93 octane anywhere here, although I would imagine this car would require it. This engine feels a little bit high strung. What we're going to do is fill the tank completely full, let it sit for 30 seconds, and then go wide open on the handle again. Then we're going to jump onto the highway, go all the way up to Cheyenne, Wyoming, and back to here and see what kind of fuel economy we get. I just set the tires to manufacturer suggested rating, and wow, this thing just looks incredible, doesn't it? Sweet looking machine. Now you join me on the inside and let's get everything set up. So let's go on accessory power here, and car is not on. We're going to go auto to, let's say, 68 degrees. All the climate control stuff is in automatic mode. We got to go over to here and reset our trip. We then have to put the car in eco mode, and then we're good to go. 70 miles an hour indicated is a true 70 mile per hour GPS speed. So let's rock and roll. This episode is proudly brought to you by Magna. Magna is a mobility technology company that is super unique because they touch every aspect of almost every car on the market, especially a lot of electric vehicles, and they even can produce vehicles from the ground up. Now, you may remember I shot a series just recently testing some of their new electric vehicle powertrains, so stay tuned for a lot of Magna content to come. We're going to be going in depth with some really interesting topics with these guys, and Out of Spec wants to thank Magna for sponsoring this review and tons of other videos to come right here on Out of Spec. We look forward to working with Magna to define and find out what the future of mobility looks like. Well, we have everything set the way we need it to. Start button, straight into drive as we normally do. Waste no time here. And got red seat belts. Not sure how that's going to help us in the efficiency, but certainly spices up the interior. I have to say, just some general impressions about this car. I'll have a full driving review on this vehicle that I think is going up before this one. I'm not totally sure. But wow, this has to be one of the most impressive cars I've driven all year. Not the most, but definitely one of the most. I've been lucky to drive some pretty impressive cars recently, and I don't think that's stopping. We have some amazing cars coming up to share with you guys, but like, this thing is so good, and I just can't get over the price of about $45,000. That's the big thing. Like, if you told me this was 65 grand, I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, that seems great for that. But for 45, holy smokes. I think it's like 48, something like that. Amazing value here, especially for the 3.3 liter turbo. Now, no auto start stop in this particular vehicle, so when we come to a stop, we do have auto hold, so we'll put that on, and there we go. I don't need to keep my foot on the brake, but it is running, so come on, green lights, we gotta go. The materials feel pretty good in this car. You know, you get this sort of hard grain stuff around, but it's actually not as hard touch as you would think. And then really fine grain leather on the seats. The stitching work is wonderful. The noise in here, it's unbelievably quiet. The switchgear all feels really nice. It's like, you know, this car's main competitor, 3 Series, C-Class, that type of thing. Maybe this is a little bit bigger, but it's so much better than those cars for an equivalently priced 3 Series at 45 grand. I don't know if you guys remember, we tested the BMW 330e, the plug-in hybrid, and that was like almost $70,000, and it had the 4-cylinder. Granted, it was the plug-in hybrid. So we need to get up to 70 miles an hour by the end of the on-ramp, so we got another 10 miles an hour to go. I think we can do it. Just a hint of boost right there, 70 miles an hour. Let's lock it in. Boom. We'll put steering on. We'll put, yeah, everything's good. And now we're actively steering down the road. And wow, it is so quiet. I know the cameras always have a hard time picking up noise, and this is incredibly harsh surface, but really quiet. So now what I'm going to do is just sit at 70 miles an hour. We'll go up to Cheyenne, turn around, come back to here, and let's see what kind of economy it gets. I'll update you throughout the drive on some things that I notice. I'm going to try out the sound system, stuff like that, but just truly blown away by the feel of everything, the steering, the throttle, the brake. It's all great, all really, really, really good. And I'll talk more about the driving, of course, in that driving review. Let's continue on with this test. Wow, well, we have been cruising along for some amount of time now. We're just about to reach our exit 7 turnaround point. The sound system is truly incredible. It's a Lexicon unit, but it has 3 different profiles. There's a reference system, which literally sounds like studio headphones. There's an audience, and then there's a live stage. I really like the reference profile. It's amazing how well tuned this sound system is for this specific car. Just mind blown with the G70. It's so good at so many things. Now I did a little bit of digging into the settings menu. We are in eco mode, of course, and when you put it in eco mode, it looks like the all-wheel drive actually puts itself into an eco mode setting, which is very interesting. And I've activated coasting, but it's not coasting. And what coasting means is it will physically disconnect the torque converter from the transmission so that the engine basically sits at idle, but I have not experienced it doing that yet. Anyway, I love our turnaround loop because we can just continue moving, make a full loop back onto I-25 south, back to Colorado. We are in Cheyenne, Wyoming right now. A little bit of hammer through the corner just to carry some speed. The steering, the turn-in, the suspension calibration, it's all really good for around town stuff. Now, genuinely, I have not pushed this up a back road yet. I've kind of ripped it around some on-ramps. Like when you really get it loaded up, I think that's when it kind of starts to fall apart a little bit. But for like your general user, I would say, yeah, wow, just really, really solid piece of engineering right here. Really solid piece of engineering. I have Highway Drive Assist turned on. I believe it's just Highway Drive Assist 1 because it doesn't make lane changes, which is weird because Hyundai Kia stuff does in their Ioniq 5 and EV6. So I'm not sure why this doesn't do that, but maybe it's an option that this car doesn't have. I'm not totally sure, but definitely does a great job of just lane centering, keeping us in the middle, keeping us at a good distance and speed. We've had nothing but perfect conditions, almost no wind, really perfect day out, 52 degrees Fahrenheit, and we've just been cruising along pretty much up until this very moment at 70, and now we're back to 70 already. So perfect day for the test. Doesn't get better. The car is really, really, really good. Really good. Wow. Just blown away by this thing. It just keeps getting better the more time I spend with it. And we are just nearing the end of our highway portion. I have to say that the suspension in this setting is wonderful. Everything feels great. I can't say enough good things about the car. I know I'm rambling on. Just kicking it off 70 miles an hour here. See if I can get it into coasting. So just light throttle and I'm off. Doesn't want to coast. Maybe it only happens at low speed. Anyway, here we are pulling off the exit ramp back in Wellington, Colorado, and let's go see what this thing does at the pump. I have no idea. I haven't looked at the numbers, so my guess is not the most efficient thing on the planet. I guess we'll see. I'm not totally sure. We'll find out here shortly. Why is this guy doing zigzags in front of us? I have no idea. On earth. And no license plate on that car either. Okay, well, let's no auto start stop, so let's hurry it up here. Nice gentle accelerations, keep it out of boost as usual. We'll run over here to the come and go fueling station, try and use the same pump, and then compare the numbers here to the pump numbers, and I'll give you a good estimate as to what this thing does in terms of fuel economy on the highway. We are back here at the fueling station. I think this can reach, but I just wanted to go through some of the numbers with you before we look. This car's EPA rated, again, 17 city, 25 highway. I don't know what it did, but let's go take a look. If it can beat 25 highway by quite a bit, that would be amazing. 25 highway isn't great, but let's see what it actually does here. You got to hit this. Oh, and it plays a little chime when you get out, a little jingle. Let's fill it up. Grab the pump, 91. Over to the car. Does it reach? Yes, barely. And in we go. Let's see what it does. And 30 seconds has passed. Wide open on the handle. Boom. There's our result. Let's see what we did. 1.9 gallons. Whoa. Way better than I was expecting. Let's crunch the numbers in the car. So at this point in the loop, we are obviously done. We've driven 57.5 miles exactly. We've used 1.928 gallons according to the pump, which is near as makes no difference, 30 MPG. It's like 29.8. And then the car actually thinks we did 31.1. So we're right in that, right around 30 MPG range here on the highway, smoking the EPA 25 number. 30 is acceptable. I did not expect it to be that good. But hey, you got yourself a road tripper here. I think if you get a little bit larger gas tank, I think it's like 14 gallons or something like that, you could just cruise all day. But, yeah, just impressive economy here. I didn't think it would even be that good. Glad it is. Thanks for watching another Out of Spec Reviews video. The Genesis keeps surprising, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.